Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to 8 till late here live on youtube.com/Wi-Fi sheep with me, Tom. Now, hopefully you can hear me a little bit clearer today. I've made some microphone adjustments. So hopefully I am a little more louder than I normally am, and I'm hoping I'm not too loud. Reason being, I was showing someone last week's live stream, and this was at work, and we were talking about an OBS live stream project. I was having a chat with them about it, and I said, oh, you know, look at this. This is what I did last week. And then I thought, I sound very quiet, and some of you in the past have actually said you're very quiet on stream. So hopefully I'm coming in a bit louder this evening. Hopefully. Anyway, there we are. How are you doing? So welcome to 8 till late. It is episode 19 for January the 27th. 2024. Sorry for being a little bit late. I was all prepared and all ready, and then just time got away from me. So a little bit late getting here live on stream, but hey, what? I'm 8 minutes behind, so that's not bad. So live from around 2000 hours GMT until late. As I said, hope you're well, and a very, very warm welcome to you. Basically, tonight we're going to do ZX81. Because that's what I said we were going to do. Got a few things to also talk about and show you just beforehand. So before we go any further, do you have a need for reliable and cost-effective web hosting for your blog, business or personal website? If so, then look no further than Cheap Host UK. Cheap Host UK's basic plan starts from only 58 pence per month. That's £6.99 a year. And if you're needing a little bit more, Cheap Host UK's premium packages start from £1.41 per month or £16.99 a year, complete with a free .co.uk domain. New customers can also take advantage of an extra 10% discount when purchasing any first-time hosting package or domain name from Cheap Host UK. Use discount code SHEEP, that's SHEEP, to get an extra 10% off. For reliable, cost-effective web hosting and domains, look no further than Cheap Host UK. Full details and an affiliate link are in the description to this video. Indeed, so huge thank you to our sponsors, Cheap Host UK, and you can take advantage of that 10% off offer on any new domain name or web hosting package by using discount code SHEEP, that's SHEEP. Details and links are in the description to this video, or live stream, I should say, nearly. I should also say huge thank you to our members. There they all are, backing us on Patreon or on YouTube as YouTube channel members. We want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you that continues to back me and this channel. If you would like to join them, you can. There we are on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Wi-Fi sheep. Or alternatively, there we are on YouTube channel members. If you want to support us right here on YouTube, just click that join button below this video or any other video you see here on the Wi-Fi Sheep channel. Base support starts from 99 pence all the way up to £2.99. That's British pound sterling. That price will be converted into your local currency or US dollars if it can't be, and the prices will be adjusted according to inflation, or thereabouts, I should say. Right, so how you doing? I'm all right. I've had a busy week. I haven't got half of what I said I'd get done. So you might remember we were doing the wire wrap. It's up here. I call it wire wrap. It's not strictly speaking wire wrap, but just to recap. So last week we were, I was wiring this clone Arduino Mega Pro. Mega 2, yes, Mega Pro. It's called the Pro, isn't it? Yeah. Arduino Mega Pro, and I was making an adapter through wire up, and one of my wires has already come off, to basically a standard Mega board for use with the robots. At work, we've been basically doing a lot with the robots because students have been building their buggies. I need to get mine ready. I've got 4 weeks left, and that's really annoying that already a wire's broke, and I knew that was going to happen. So yeah, I need to go and put that back on. So we might end up doing that a bit later on. We'll see. As thrilling as that was last week. Before we go any further, shall I show you a few bits that have come in today before we go any further, do what we're doing? So this one, which I've had a little while actually. Might have shown it before, can't remember if I did or not, but let me just show you this. So there we go. Now, this is an Arduino Uno. Okay, so it's at Mega 328p. I'm going to zoom in. So apologies, I'm going to go all blurry, but let me just try and zoom in and focus. There we go. Okay. So this is an Uno. So at Mega 328p. A couple of things I want to point out. First of all, check how small the chip actually is. So you can see the original footprint for the actual chip is there, and sort of squeezed down the size of an Mega 328p, even smaller, and there it is. And the thing is tiny now, but you don't lose any compatibility or any capabilities. It's still a straight AVR Uno board. What I also like about this one is the color code sections, which is kind of different from what you normally see. But the main reason I bought this, and I did buy this isn't a sponsored board. The main reason I bought this one is there's a little switch here on the side. You can see that just there. And this switch allows you to switch between 5 volt TTL and 3.3 volt TTL. And you can actually see it's there on the silk screen underneath. If I just turn that around for you. So 5 volts and 3 volts. So that means the pins will be switched to either 5 volt or 3 volt out. The advantage of that is, for those of you building tiny basic computers at the moment, you'll know that if you want to use, let's say, a Raspberry Pi as the video terminal, you want to take advantage of the colour system that we do, either tiny basic 4-color or Project Rio. Basically, you've got to use a level shifter because the architecture uses for Arduino is 5 volt. It's 5 volt TTL out. And we use a level shifter to shift that down to 3 volts so we don't blow up the Pi. Well, this board, and only this particular board, actually should, and I haven't actually fully tested it, but should switch all these pins down to 3.3 volts. Meaning that it should be possible now to directly connect your Raspberry Pi or other board, if you're using an ESP32 for video or terminal, you should be able to connect a bridge between the two without needing a level shifter, which makes life a whole lot simpler. Still testing with it, still playing with it. I've had this a little while actually, and I took it into work the other day just to say, look, no, we can do this without a level shifter if we use this board and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, still playing with it. Nice little kit, that, not too expensive. Kind of unique at the moment, so it's a little bit different to your stock, you know, but there we go. What next? Right. Okay, so this came the other day. Afraid it's model train parts, so as you know, we're going to be doing over on Wi-Fi Sheep channel 2, which if you haven't subscribed to, you need to. It's 2.wifi-sheep.co.uk. I think a link for that should be in the description to this live stream video. But basically, I have bought some detailing parts, which are all 3D printed. Check this out. These are all the 3D printed, these are all the pipes and things for British Rail type diesel multiple units. And because I have this model railway project, building a new layout and super detailing rolling stock, I bought a number of these off-the-shelf 3D print custom kits. So I've got more than one unit to do, locomotives to do, etc, etc. So that's rather cool. And I was quite pleased when that came. I bought another pack for someone else as well. And literally the other day, this arrived, staying with the train theme. First of all, a pack of raw earth magnets, tiny little magnets. They all last up together. You just see them in the packet, and they're going to be used for train uncouplings. They're going to be embedded in the track. But I also bought these, and I'll just get one out. I bought two. I'll just get, oops, My box is falling apart. I'll just get one out. So this is one of the reasons why when the Raspberry Pi Pico came out, I kept getting confused, because for me, Pico, as in PECO, is a well-known model train manufacturer here in the UK. Based, they make model railway track and other sort of accessories. So you can see here it actually has made in England, so it's very much a British product. So these are cassettes for locomotives, and they come in a flat pack type kit. It's plastic with, and as you just see it in there, actually there's like a strip of metal, and basically these allow you to we can see the picture, you can build a cassette, and it's a twin set, so there's two that clip together, and you can put it onto a standard piece of track, and you can actually drive your locomotive in and then pick the whole locomotive off the track in the cassette. Now you're probably wondering, well, why would you do that and not just pick up the locomotive? If you're like me and going to be running an exhibition layout, that's a model railway layout that you have built and you're hoping or planning to take out to shows, then when the locomotive comes off the scenic public bit, the trains need to travel somewhere, basically. So they come off the scenic bit, they disappear into like a behind the scenes area, which we call the fiddle yard. And basically you need to take trains on and off very quickly. So if you've got cassettes with locomotives and rolling stock in, you can literally just plonk these down on the track and pull them out and sort of turn locomotives around, and it's very, very easy. Plus the fact these cassettes stack on top of each other. So when you've got rolling stock that's not on show, because basically running a model railway like I have done at a public exhibition, it is putting on a performance. The public are paying and expecting you to put on some sort of model performance, and that's what you're doing. So it's a way of sort of working behind the scenes to sort of move stock and pack stock up and move it around, etc. So I bought two of those as an experiment. If you want to know how I get on with all this stuff, then you do need to join me for the Trains on 2 project, which will be has already started, because you may remember we did a talk. I used a bit of video here on 8 till 8, which got edited and re-uploaded onto channel 2. So Trains on 2, Wi-Fi Sheep channel 2, youtube.com it's 2.wifisheep.co.uk. I haven't got a YouTube domain for it, although youtube.com/@Wi-Fi-Sheep2 should work. Haven't tried it, but there we are. So that's just a few little bits I've been buying. Also, let me show you this. So there we go. Now in work, I was basically, I'll explain this project quickly. So the engineering department was asked by, I can't remember whichever department it was at the university, to help set up what was going to be called what is called the community fridge. Okay, and basically it's a fridge and a freezer of free food that's kind of come to the end of its sale life, and it's put into this fridge, and people can log stuff out and just take it. They don't have to put things back in it, and they don't have to pay for it, right? It's not to the public. It is kind of in an area of the university that you do have to be a certain student to get in, or like me, staff and have security clearance. But basically it's a pilot project to see about sort of community food sharing kind of. It's the sort of thing that Harper Adams University, being a sort of agricultural based food management type university, would do. Anyway, they had this website, and it was literally almost like a blank A4 piece of paper. It was made in Word, and it wasn't great. So I was asked, because they knew my background as a web programmer and designer, could I make them a better front-end website that they could actually show this off and look at, securing more funding, etc. I said, yeah, and this is the result. So the address is up there. I could try and plonk that. I always have trouble plonking the addresses in. Let me just see if we can get that address. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's not gone well. Hang on. Okay, so bit of luck. There you go. If you want to have a look at it. So this went live yesterday. And this is the sort of front end and the graphics. I didn't do the fridge icon, or logo I should say, but I did do the everything else, including the graphics, which I look at the graphics and I think, especially the colour scheme, I think it looks very Project Rio, which I think may have been a subconscious accident, but I've seen this colour scheme before. Oh, it's Project Rio, isn't it? But because they don't know what Project Rio is, so I think we'll get away with that. Anyway, yeah, so here's the site, and it has an about section, and this is one of my photos. So I managed to get into, because I've got security clearance, it's all like swipe doors and things, so I was able to get into the actual room where this is, which is a common room for masters and sort of PhD research students. So here is a freezer and fridge. It's like these standard commercial type freezer fridge, and there's even a time-lapse video, which is just an MP4 file playing straight from the browser. It's not embedded in anything, so it's not a YouTube video, but you can see, yeah, community fridge. And then you can click live, and there is when I say live, it's a JPEG that gets updated. So my colleagues fitted a Raspberry Pi powered camera into, it's hanging from the ceiling, so it's in the ceiling tiles of the common room, and it's one camera pointing at both fridge and freezer next to each other. And what happens is that my colleague Matt, who's senior technician, basically designed a system that it takes the it stretches the image to bend the distortion out, and you've got the fridge and freezer are shown separately but taken from one camera feed. Now it's basically updates a photograph, if you like, every time something happens at the fridge. Which on the weekend, when no one's there, not a lot is going to happen, but you can actually watch. It doesn't take pictures of people either, so it will know if someone's there. It won't take a picture. It just takes a picture every 5 minutes periodically, and you can then view. There we are. We can view full screen. You can see it's tagged. So it took the last one at, I say every 5 minutes. It actually took one at 7 minutes past 8. And yeah, and I'm told that's just cans of yeast or something at the bottom. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, so this is basically the website, and there we are. Website front end produced by me, and my contact email for work. It's my work address, and yeah, you can go back to the top. You've got the partners site, and you can link straight through to the university itself. There we go. Yeah, so that was Fridge Cam. Yeah, also this site, if you look at it on your phone, it will it's a little glitchy, but it will resize and reshape itself for phone and tablet format. So it is technically mobile friendly as well. So I only had about a week to throw something together, so this is kind of the best it can do, but it's better than what we had. I can show you actually. It will be a bit broken, but if you go /old, that's literally what they had. And you see the images links are broke, but you had the fridge and freezer image link, and that was literally, the website was that. Yeah, so we've gone from that to this, which is what I've done, but that's all the same text. So there you are, if anyone's interested. Fridge Cam. Right, yes, so trying to think, not an awful lot's happened this week really. I've still yet to get, I went to the opticians today, so for the first time in 9 years apparently. I thought it can't be that long, and it was that long. I haven't been for them for 9 years, which isn't good. So this pair of glasses, right? So I 9 years ago, when I last had my eyes checked and these glasses issued, I had two identical pairs, which is what these are. Basically, over the course of 9 years, what I'm now wearing is the cobbled together sort of remains of both pairs. So obviously I was sort of thinking it's probably time I need an eye checkup, and I'm pleased to say everything is fine, but there obviously has been some element of deterioration due to age, apparently. So, okay, fair enough. So I have ordered 2 new sets of glasses, one very similar to this, one a little more different, and also a set of prescription sunglasses because I don't actually own a pair. So I had all that today. Luckily, it didn't come to too much. The whole, because I have to pay for it all because it's not on the NHS or anything, so I have to pay privately for it. The whole thing, 3 pairs of glasses, including sunglasses, and the actual examination and test, it's come to about £154 or something, which isn't bad. If I wrap that up into dollars, we're probably about, I don't know, $210, something like that. So not terrible. Obviously, yeah, it's a little expensive, but it's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. Sorry, Brian has just come into the chat. The glasses thing is you telling my story. You did what? I ran my reading glasses under the car. Okay. What, you mean you ran over them? I've not done that. No, just the kind of one set broken and this set twisted or something. I was like, right, can we kind of make a pair, a set of a pair, a thing of glasses out of one? But yeah, so no, I've never ran over. I've been putting it off. We've had a pandemic, and I've been putting it off because it is expensive. But I needed to get it done really because I'm not. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm actually all right without them. I can see. Everyone's going, oh, you look so weird about your glasses. I know. I can actually see all right, and I can read the monitor in front of me from this distance okay. It's just things get a bit blurry. I mean, I don't legally require glasses to drive, believe it or not. I can see well enough without them, but obviously that makes life a lot easier for me. So, yeah. So that was Tom's trip to the opticians. Oh, and they did the whole number 1, number 2, number 1, number 2. And you're like, no, you've just made it all worse. No, put it back. So yeah, that was that. We'll say hello to Gertmon. Just been out for dinner. Yes, I actually managed to have dinner before I came on air this evening, so I was still late, but I was there. Well, also said, I don't know if we said hello to Martin. Marty's saying we're sounding good. Yes, so for those of you that are just joining us, I have made a tweak to the audio, so hopefully we're all right this evening. Let me just move. Sorry, screwdriver. Let's move that out of the way. And we also say welcome to Andrew D, who's also saying the volume is improved. And Andrew's joining us from the other side of the world in. Is it the land of tomorrow yet? I'm trying to think. You're very New Zealand. You're way ahead of us. Is it tomorrow? Is it Sunday? 2031 here. So yeah, possibly. I'm trying to think. What 12 hours ahead? Is it something like, I don't know. Anyway, right. If you're listening and in the chat and haven't fallen to sleep with Tom's boring glasses story, do let me know. I'd be very interested. Okay, so as promised, because I need to get on with this project and it's been put off for 2 years, we're going to take a look at the ZX81, Sinclair ZX81, which was donated to me a little while ago. And, oh, here we go. Yes, New Zealand, 13 hours ahead. Ah, right. Would you like the whole jokes about the future and lotto numbers and all the rest of it, or are you good? Are you good, or have you heard those all before? Yeah, probably heard them before. Anyway, yeah. So what I want to do is, again, being a bit cheeky. I'm going to make a recording of this, and we'll reuse it in a video, because I must be brutally honest with you. There's not a lot of times we're making videos at the moment. So, and I want the stuff I want to do and the stuff we need to do. And especially when I start going back upstairs in the attic, upstairs with the model trains and doing all that kind of stuff as well for Channel 2. So we're going to be, yeah. So let's start a video. Now, those of you watching will know that basically you're watching this live and I'll be all over the shop, and I always am whenever I make a video. And then you're going to see this when it's like edited and you go, oh, that looks so brilliant. And all the splutters and mistakes and me talking crap will be edited out. But yeah, it's a bit of fun. So, okay. So, I'm trying to think, shall I do an intro on this, or shall we just crack on with the stuff? Because then I'll do the intro later for you. Okay. So I've actually been collecting a lot of Z80, Sinclair Z80, or Z81 rather, stuff. The first thing I want to show you, I have shown these before, but let me show you these again. So, bought, I think all this was like bought nearly 2 years ago now. These are brand new games for the Sinclair ZX81, including a multi-set of games that run all in the original 1K. One Little Ghost, which is a sort of alternative Pac-Man type game, and it runs in a very cool isometric mode. And Impact, which is a asteroids, meteors clone. Now these are all from Coronasoft, and Coronasoft cut me a little deal. I did have to pay for these, but I got them a little bit cheaper. They weren't terribly expensive to begin with. I got them a little bit cheaper on the sort of thing I was going to show them here on the channel. So, ta-da, here we are. They actually come on cassette tape. And just take the cassette out of the way. You can actually see inside the actual printed leaf, you've actually got a screenshot. I'll show you that screenshot and some instructions of, you know, how this works. This was 2019, and you've actually got loading instructions as well. Is that loading instructions? Oh no. That's I thought we had loading instructions. Okay, no we don't. Right. Anyway, so I thought, yeah, that looks interesting. So I basically bought some software to try, and to actually try loading off original tape, which is, you know, going to be quite something. And yeah, quite funky. New cassette, because of course, you know, they make cassette tapes again now. So there we are. Now, these latter two, well, not that one, but these latter two require 16K of RAM. The Timex American version of the ZX81, which we probably all know, had 16K of RAM as standard. The original British version, which is what I have, the Sinclair ZX81, came with a mere 1K. And what made that worse is you're probably thinking, well, not Project Rib, Tiny Basic Computers, we ran with a 1K system. Technically speaking, you had 1K available to your basic interpreter. You could do whatever you wanted. The actual system was 2K, and the other K was the bootloader and the kernel and the basic interpreter. What's really bad about this is, with the Sinclair ZX81, is that your OS, your kernel, your basic interpreter, and all your video screen RAM has to come out of 1K. So realistically, you run in, I forget how many 100 bytes it's left available. So to do anything on a stock machine and to get that amount of games to run is impressive, to say the least. And I'm looking forward to seeing what these are like. I think they're quite simple, as you might expect. And oh, we have actually got some instructions for this. There we go, we've got a little instruction sheet. Okay. Type load and press new line. So yes, very interesting, and look forward to having a look at these. Oops. It's also nice to have cassettes that aren't sort of breaking on the hinges, because obviously these are new, so they're not going to. And yeah, nice sort of plastic. So copyright 2020. So yeah, brand new software for the classic machine. So that's the software. Let's put those somewhere very safe that's not magnetic, which might be just back up here. One moment. Let's actually take a look at the computer itself. We haven't looked at this in quite a long time. I was actually reusing a printed circuit board box. But here is, just get that out. Here is the ZX81 I have, which was very kindly donated to me by Simon Pryatt, who occasionally shows up on in the chat on the stream. Simon is a fellow university colleague he's actually at Birmingham University, and he basically donated this machine to me as it was his spare. And he's a fellow member of what was the Stafford Raspberry Pi Jam / Makerspace event that we're both members of. And he sort of would like me to sort of show this on the channel, and I said I would. And we did do an initial sort of overview of it. Unfortunately, that's as far as we got, because I've been busy, and we do need to kind of just check how things are with the system. So this unit itself is, well, you can see this gouge mark here, and I have a sneaking suspicion that this may have been used at some point as a doorstop, as many of them actually were. It just looks like it's possible that it was a doorstop. It just looks suspicious how you've got this arced curve and then this sort of blunt mark here, so you can imagine a door going like that. The unit on the side is, well, the plastics aren't actually bad at all, other than that. The feet are actually on this one, believe it or not. The screws, though, there are basically next to no screws holding this thing in, as you can see. There's one there and one there. There's actually 2 screws in the whole thing. When we tested it last time, which admittedly was a while ago now, we had an issue that the keyboard, which is the world's worst keyboard you can imagine, it's a flat membrane keyboard, that doesn't actually work anymore. It's disintegrated, the connections are lost, so it was absolutely need replacing. Let's grab a screwdriver. Let's find the mankiest one I've got. That one will do. So you can see here how the rubber feet have been moved off. I can't remember if I did. I don't think I did. But they've been moved off because the rubber feet would have hidden the screws originally. So let's just take these out. And this is the computer inside. So there's the case with the 2 screws we have got. So let's just pop that somewhere safe, and I'll lose the screws of my own accord at a later date. So a screw here. And screw here. Check out, by the way, the PCB. It's hand drawn. It's not machine. So the actual PCB for this is, although it is silk screened, it's actually hand drawn traces. That's why it looks so different to machine made boards. And Gertman's just asking, are the keys tactile when new, or are they touch sensitive? If you know what I mean. No, there's no tactile response on the keyboard at all, which is why no one liked it. So you can see here how the ribbon has completely disintegrated. So it should be sort of, you can see what's happened. And there's actually a piece of ribbon still stuck here. So this wasn't working last time. But no, to answer the question, if we just turn the top over, so it literally, there is, I mean, there's the tiniest amount of sponge, but there's nothing. It's like if any of you that had microwave ovens, I know they're a bit different now, but anyone who had microwave ovens back in kind of the mid 80s through to the sort of early to mid 1990s, it's that kind of membrane for the front control panel, so it was all wipeable. If you remember those sort of things, it's exactly the same feeling. So yeah, this has basically deteriorated, which is unfortunate. Now, the board itself is actually relatively good nick and complete. And I remember we did do a power up, and well, we did a power up a while ago, and it worked. So let me just pop those two screws out of the way. Now, this heatsink is terrible. Because this is the voltage regulator, which everyone has said you need to change because they go off. So basically it takes a higher voltage in and regulates it down to 5 volts. So really you could run these things off 5 volts, I guess. A few things to show you. Yeah, so this here is the ROM. So it has Sinclair research on it. What's really weird, and see the copyright date, 1981. What's really weird is the ROM is shorter than the socket. And I've never seen that before, and honestly thought that was some sort of issue, but it worked fine. The Z80 is, I think that's the Z80. It's a neck part, so yes, I believe that's your Z80 processor. So it's a clone from the Zilog chip, so it's a neck, so it's Japanese clone. We have Ferrante ULA, so that is your graphics character generator, very similar to BBC's. So if that goes bad, you are kind of stuffed. And that, I'm assuming one of these is the character ROM and the other is possibly basic. I don't think they were combined. So I believe, yeah, one of these is, I believe, but someone can tell me that differently. So that's kind of a guess. And yeah, and there was a chip here to do something that's clearly not populated on this board. We then have the RF modulator, which is the CAN. That is the only video out on one of these, which generates, in this case, a UHF PAL signal. The machines were strictly black and white, but it did a 256 line analog PAL UHF signal. And then you have what looks like a composite cable, RCA type jack. It isn't actually composite. It's basically an aerial feed. So it needs to be fed into a television receiver which can take analog UHF PAL. And that's kind of what I think we'll try running on, because although these go bad in things like Acorn BBC Micros, they seem to be quite reliable in these, and I did get a very good stable picture straight off the RF modulator without them to mess. So the board's all there, it did work. I should also point out there is your edge connector. And there's actually, I don't know if this is showing up on camera, but it looks like this board has been used with something in the past, like a memory expander, because you can see there's marks where something has actually connected in to the edge connector. So that's kind of the board as is. Now, obviously, I want to make improvements to get this thing running. It's then the question of what I want to do with this sort of long term as a project. Now, the case isn't in amazing condition. So basically the big gouge. Now, It is possible to get 3D print versions, and I've seen them from things like Thingiverse, 3D print versions of this case, or the CAD that you can run out in PLA, which means you could run off as many of these cases as you wanted in various colours. That is an option, and it's a decision I need to make, because obviously I need to re-stick a keyboard in. So rather than try and rip this keyboard, because it's actually adhesively stuck, so it's actually stuck in with adhesive, and it's just basically pushed through a hole, so it's very, very cheaply made. It would mean I can kind of keep all this intact as is, and we put the board into a brand new case. The advantage of having that is obviously I can do funky colours and all sorts, and it means if I want to lop new holes to do expansions and extras, I can without the fear of ripping up an original Sinclair case. So I don't know, I suppose I could ask what people's thoughts on that are really. What I want to do is there's a project which uses an ESP32, and it allows you to embed an ESP32 into this system to run as basically a CoPro, and it means you can actually then have VGA video output, as well as, you don't lose any functionality, as well as your original RF UHF analog. You can have VGA output, and the same ESP32 can also be wired directly to the audio in, and that will allow you to actually run programs off the ESP32 in its memory straight into the machine. So you can almost like on the fly select programs, and they load very, very quick, far quicker than they would off tape. So there's a few advantages, and that's something I want to do, but it will mean I need to, you know, lop a hole basically to put a VGA connector in. And at that point, it begs the question, do I basically 3D print a new case? Then that's something we could sort of, you know, lop about, and obviously keeping this, you know, empty, but kind of stock original, if you know what I mean. And you're suggesting go for a new case and keep the old one. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, just because, you know, it's a retro computer and I want to have fun and do projects with it. So to make it useful, it's not, I mean, these, I mean, it could all go back together again originally. It's not, anything I'm going to do is not a permanent change, especially to the board. We might add a few solder points to it, but it's not going to be a permanent change to the board. So yeah, and I can keep the case, I mean, it can go back together as is, really. So that's the kind of thinking for the project. Now, let me show you a few other bits I've got. Now, I did have the original power supply. So last time we tried powering this up, it was with the power supply. And I just don't trust the original power supplies. So I bought one of these, which is upside down. Let's do that again. So I bought one of these, which is a replacement modern power supply for the ZX8081. And there we are. So far more efficient, and the UK pin standard with one jack. Now the one thing I hate about the ZX8081 is that it used audio jacks for power, and you've got 3 jacks on the side of the unit, and it's very easy to go and put your full voltage into your blooming audio thing and blow things up. So it's like, ugh. And it's also the case of remembering which is which on these, which is kind of why you need the case with all the screws in it to reference from, because I can't remember which is which offhand. Let me just take these screws out, what's left of the screws. Was it? It was silk screened rather, in paint on the side. So, TV, yeah, ear mic, 9 volts. 9 volts, so we're in that way like that. So there is your 9 volt, would be that one there. So yeah, this is the one thing about the design I really, really hate, because it's so easy to do that and really mess things up. So, you go in there. There's the brand new power supply, and I think probably what we should do is probably try and power this thing up. Again, just to check, which is also going to be very interesting to see how you're going to see it on screen. Which, yeah, I don't know if I've figured that one out yet. I'm going to have a little rummage around for a cable in a minute. Let's just catch up on chat. So, Gertmon, I have one I bought about 2 years ago. Same. Well, I didn't buy mine. Mine was Gavin, but yeah, 2 years ago. I'd been in my workroom. Yeah, I can relate. I remember when I opened it and thought the keyboard was knackered, as the buttons couldn't be depressed. No, it's literally that bad. Mine is knackered because physically it disintegrated. But yeah, and time for the magic marker or colour. That's actually a very good point. Yeah. So Andrew's suggesting that, you know, make a something just so we can identify if that's the power, which is actually not a bad idea at all. And I'm just thinking, have I got where's my marker pens gone? This is another thing we like to do here on 8 to 8 is we watch Tom as he scrabbles around trying to find the bleeding obvious that should be in front of him and isn't. Great idea. Can it be executed well? The answer is no. Bet you. Hang on, I've got a pen here. Let's just... Can I even... Is that even going to... I think that's dried up, you know. Well, I can sort of see it. I know you can't, but I can just see the marking. It's only while we're kind of running like this, so you just don't go and shove it in one of these by accident. Yeah, so as I was saying, I'm going to need to basically, this has to go into an analog television unit. Luckily, I have many of those little black and white monitors, which is one of the things I want to run with this. So what I'm thinking is... we might take a little break. I need to go and get one of the monitors, and I literally think this camera, right, the one you're looking at, I'm going to kind of like put it down on the desk and point it at the screen. Now, because the refresh rate of PAL is different to the 60 frames that this camera is logging at, we're going to get a strobe, unfortunately. Hopefully, it won't be too distracting, and it'll be good enough that you can see it working as I'm working on the board. But basically, let's just do a power up and see if thing still works from the last time it's powered up, when it did work. But obviously, we couldn't type anything in because we didn't have a keyboard membrane. So I think that's what we do. Also, my tea, right, disaster. My tea's gone cold. So I need to get that dealt with before we do anything else, you know, priorities and all that. So let's, yeah, we've been on for just under an hour. So let's just take a break. I'll get a cup of tea, get a monitor sorted. And when I come back, we will power this up and see how well it works and if it still works. And by the way, for Martin, who says you've been away, what have you missed? That. Not an awful lot, but that is what you have missed, sir. And yeah, we're going to power up this Sinclair ZX81 and we'll have a look. So I just need to set up the video for that to work, and new cup of tea while we're at it. So yep, I'll try to be less than 10 minutes if I can, but let's reconvene and we'll go from there. back. Sorry about that. Had to. I just made a cup of tea, and the dog decided that she wanted to go out. You know what it's like. You're like, okay, fine. In the garden, in the dark, and then you're like, right, can you come back now? Because I've got people waiting. Got a new cup of tea, by the way, so we're good. Okay. Thanks for all of you that have just waited for me there. I know we usually have to go on a tea break, but you know, I don't get through one of these streams otherwise. So, right. So I found what hopefully will be a suitable cable. I'll explain why that's a suitable cable in a minute. First thing I need to do then is let's grab a TV. Now I can't remember. I think I showed you the one I bought the other day. So let's just zoom out a minute. Okay. And I try not to spill drinks and things everywhere. Okay, so this was the one I bought the other day that I think we'll try. I don't think it's ever been used, in all honesty. I think I need a... Do I need a PSU for this one? I think I do. So I think it came with a power supply. Very, very cool looking telly, this. Again, one of these little black and white type things. And this is the unit I'm thinking of actually running. Just get the polystyrene off it. Actually running with the ZX81 because I think it'll look really, really cool. So we'll pop that there, and I do need to grab a... Just check what the thing in the back of that is. Yep, as expected. So also we can find out if the tuner's working, because of course there's no analog television anymore to actually check if the tuner on that's actually working. So yeah. Just need to find a suitable power supply, and I've got one hiding here, so this one will suffice. So it's 9 volts. I think these things can run up to 9 volts. Let's just check. Yeah, 12 volts actually. So pop that in. This is 12 volts, 4 amps, so that'll be more than sufficient. So we'll plug that in. Okay, now, as I explained, this is RF. It's UHF RF. Okay, so although it looks like a composite port, and it is, you know, you can take a composite cable and fit it, it's not. It's actually an aerial, analog aerial type signal. What you can do, and this does sort of work, is you can put, we've got one of these composite cables that actually has RCA composite to audio, okay, audio jack, another audio jack, and that will actually go into the back of these little black and white tellies. So it'll actually go into the TV port like so. This kind of works because it's an aerial signal. Okay, it kind of works. So I have done it this way in the past, and I think the last time we tested this device, this actually did work. So let's just take off the plastic wrap on that. There we go. And got to find a space on the plug socket for this new power supply, which has actually never been... Oh, you're joking, it's one of those. That's annoying. Okay, hang on. We'll do some plug juggling. Oh, wait a minute, I'm just doing some plug juggling so I don't pull the power... Oh, you're joking. That is super annoying. Okay. It's one of these that basically faces the wrong way in the power brick supply, so basically it covers up another opposite socket, if you like, which is a bit annoying, but that's okay. We can survive. Okay, right. So let's power up that. Now, the only way I think this is going to work for you to be able to see what's going on is I'm going to need to move the camera and Right. There we go. That kind of works. So, as I said before, we are going to get some strobing. It's not possible to sync this camera to the PAL video signal. Let's set this. It's on TV, and we need to set it to. I think it is on UHF mode, which is here. So first, let's just power on. Check everything's all right. Take a minute. There we go. So we haven't actually got a sync as such. So that's why you're not seeing too much strobing, because we've got no sync. Now, it should be possible, there we go, to actually tune through the various UHF channels. And you'll see the static will actually change. We shouldn't find a picture, he says. But the static changes. That's the top end. You can actually, there's a tiny piece of plastic which you can't see. I can barely see, that moves. It's so dim you can't see it, but that moves over the entire spectrum. So yeah, these things are always rather cheap. But basically, the point is, see how the pattern changes when I scroll through. Okay, that is because there is stuff on the UHF band. And it's things like over-the-air digital television and even some mobile phone communications. And this television is seeing those. So it's actually, there we are. It's, weirdly, that's locked onto something, he says. Interesting. That's locked on. That is locked onto something. Nearly. Really? Don't think we're powered up yet. That's strange. Let me just try adjusting. There's a couple of controls. Okay, your guess is as good as mine. We shouldn't be finding any. There's something there. It could. Well, let's power up. Okay, so I've now powered up the ZX81. So we should. Oh, there we are. Just like that. And again, I knew you were getting this flicker, but that's actually a really nice, I would say clear, sharp picture. But yeah, through RF modulation, there is the board. So the board is still working, and I'll see if I can, just excuse me a minute while I see if I can just zoom in for you. Excuse the the flicker. And you can actually see we're down here, we have a little K prompt. So that's how I know that the board and the ROM is okay. And that's basically as far as we got to last time. But for an RF modulator, that's actually a really nice, crisp picture. And I think this is going to work brilliantly on the system. So the ZX81 basically ran, instead of having like a black screen and white text, it ran the other way around. So it was a white or off grey screen and with black text. So that's fantastic, and that's actually working really, really well. We just cut to the other camera. This board is now actually on, but there's no LEDs or lights or anything like that to tell us that it's on. So you just have to take my word for it. Right, so I've got a lot of desk space here now, but so let me show you some of the bits I have got. Let's leave that running for a minute. This plate is probably going to get, yeah, it's already getting very hot. but the thing is working well at the moment. So first of all, this little package here, which I want to share with you. So this is an original, there we are, Sinclair, made in England, 16K RAM pack. And there it is. It's got a few marks. These marks seem to happen when they got cables wrapped around them and it just burns into the plastic. But that is an original 16K RAM pack. So I guess the thing to see is, I've never tried it, by the way. So I guess let's power off. Okay, so we are definitely off. And we'll just show you the other screen. So yeah, see, we're off. I guess let's put in the RAM pack. Being careful. You can also see how it's keyed. So there's this red mark. Let's put the RAM pack in and okay. Yeah, I don't know how well this is going to work, but let's power up and see if that makes any difference. Okay, so that doesn't really tell us anything. I've got to be honest. That may be working, that may not. I don't know. We really need to get some sort of keyboard on this, in all honesty. Which, let's power back down, which brings me on to the other thing I have bought, which is in here. And Gertmon's just asking, aren't those notorious for loose connections? Yes, they are. And the whole blue tack to secure them in. I've been thinking about that, and basically it might be possible. Let's just make sure we're powered off. We are. It's actually quite well. It's not the best that, but I mean that's your problem. So the solutions are to people are actually like soldering them directly on. Could do. I'm actually wondering. I need to clean this connector up, but I'm actually wondering about if I actually add some solder, some tin, to the connectors. And then I'll just add a bit more material, basically. So when this connects in, it's actually got more to hold on. I mean, it is possible we could permanently fix that, possibly. Because, I mean, you would run the system with that. And if we're going to 3D print a new shell anyway, that's something we could do. But I just quite cool to have a RAM pack. So it'd be interesting to see if that's working. I mean, the system didn't crash, but would it necessarily address the RAM? But I don't know. This is why the Timex version was so much better, because it had this all on board as standard. Anyway, right. In this envelope, which I can't remember if I actually ever opened. Don't think I have, you know. Okay, open this carefully. Might need to get a knife for this in there. But okay, so in here is, just need to remove a brand new keyboard. So that's why I'm not so, date on this is 2014, so it's a little bit old, but it doesn't, it's made of stuff that doesn't deteriorate. So there is a brand new keyboard. Hence why we have the ability to 3D print a whole new case and put a whole new keyboard on it. And there it is. So yeah, it literally is, it's a piece of, well, you can see there is the adhesive that you pull away on the back. And yeah, so it's literally just, that is going to single-handedly be the worst thing you could possibly type on. There is no tactile anything in that. But it is a replacement. So it should be virtually a complete like-for-like replacement of the original. Oops. We are running out of space here, but yeah, pretty much is, I think. Yeah, it looks virtually identical. It's not quite, but it's good enough, if you know what I mean. So there is a new keyboard. So I guess what we probably could try, he says, regretting speaking even, is we could try, let's take out that piece of broken membrane, if we can. I'm doing this very careful. I've got no space between that camera and this television. Move you out of the way a minute. Right. So, oh, I've got to be careful here because that is jammed in there for something proper. There we go. Yeah, so here is a piece of membrane. It's just disintegrating. So that's now out. Here we have the new keyboard. So it should be possible just to, even outside the case, just to put these new ends into their respective slots, he says. Bear with me. These don't feel amazingly tight fitting, but maybe we're all right. Okay. So maybe let's just try and see if that works. So power back up. Okay. Again, apologies for the flickering. Not a lot I can do about that, unfortunately. CRT technology. Nice little CRT this actually. It's for these little cheap monitors. It's not bad. I'll just see if I can make some adjustments. Okay. Ah! Did you see that? 1, 2, it works. 3, 4, which I assume, new line, space. Is that working? I don't quite shift 8. Not quite sure. Oh no, there we are. We are getting something. So if I just hold shift and rub out, which is basically the British terminology for delete, where we adopted delete very quickly. That's a difference actually on this keyboard. It has some very sort of British ways of saying things. I think one of my connectors, oops, sorry, there we go. I think one of my connectors, this one is a bit on the flaky side and it's not quite in the socket. Though you really shouldn't be using the membrane keyboard outside, but it does actually mean it's running, it works. So a little bit of tweaking and cleaning up of the socket and I think would be all right, you know. So let's just try that again. So I was just trying to see if I could rub stuff. So hold down the shift, rub out. Yep, there we go. Excellent. Get them on. Isn't it just great when things just work? Yeah, I know. I was told by Simon, who donated this machine to me, that he thought the ROM was bad. So far, the ROM seems okay, he says. I really, I suppose we need to try and put some basic in, I guess. Which on these is an absolute pain to do. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I am not huge on the Sinclair hardware. I was bought up Acorn, so this is always a little bit funny. Let me just zoom in a little bit, so you can just bear with me. There we go. So you can see the keyboard a little bit clearer in your video. Okay. Yeah, so basically you'll notice on the keyboard it has basic statements. Well, I say that, this never holds focus. Let's just try and zoom in a bit more so you can see. That's manual focus, you need to get those. There we go. Right. So let me just carefully push along. Okay. So the keyboard has a series of basic commands printed on top. So if I wanted to say print, he says, I think what I do, instead of typing print, I think we just hit P. Ah, yes, there we go. And see it says print. And quote. Oh, that's double quote. It's not quite what I wanted. I think he says. So shift about. Should, if I go 5, print 5. Let's see, new line. There we go. So the basic interpreter is working. So I've just set it to print 5, and you can see that it's gone 5 there to the top of the screen, and you get this 0, 0, which means 0 page of 0. So these can't scroll. There just isn't enough RAM to scroll, and the more program you put in, the less screen space you actually get on the straight 1K. But it does mean the basic interpreter is running, which is fantastic. So let's just power that off. And I'm just going to bring this forward so you can see on camera. Let's try putting the RAM pack in and let's see what happens. So okay, RAM pack is in. Let's power back up. Oh. That's not happy because we've got no prompt. So is it actually that flaky? Let's try that again. Okay. Yeah, so it is literally that flaky. We're going to have to do something to try and improve that. That's a great piece of Sinclair design for you. The machines looked amazing for the budget, but the RAM pack was flaky. But at least it does mean it is technically working as well. It may have bad RAM in it, but it's running. So if I try my print again, print 5. New line. Okay, excellent. New line, there we go, clear. So print, just figure out how do I, so is this double quote thing? How do I do single quote? Again, yeah, let's learn how to use the, ZX81. Shift and Q, because one assumes I'm not going mean, that's double quoting, so that seems a bit strange. Double quote again. That seems a bit odd. Let's try that. New line. No. Oh, yeah, there was modifiers, wasn't there? Yeah. I'm confused. I don't quite remember how these. Well, I say I don't remember how these work. I honestly don't. I am not a Spectrum, or I've dabbled with Spectrum, but I'm not a Spectrum or a ZX81 user. So the slightly weird way these work is just that, slightly weird. The scroll up and down works. That works all right. Or scroll wise, sorry, cursor back and forth works all right. Yes, so there is cursor. He says, I think we're a little bit. Come on, we're a little bit flaky. No, I didn't read the. Hang on. Oh, come on. And it takes both sets out, right? Yeah, Martin, I literally just done that, Martin, and it takes both of them out. So I don't know if that's actually running correctly or not, but so rub out takes both of them. Oh my god. Oh, did we head to Google? How to use the retro computer, which I don't know how to use. Yeah, I'm still live streaming. To be honest with you, at this point in time, I am just thrilled that the damn thing is actually working, and seems to be working fine. It's just the operator is letting the side down. That's superb, though. Yeah, I'm kind of pleased about that. Cursor left, not rub out. Okay. Hang on then. Just bear with me. Right, so that didn't work. Hang on. Right. Cursor left. Okay, and then what? I don't quite. Nope. Nope. Yeah. Hang on. Hang on. This is going to annoy me. 1 minute. 1 minute. We have the power to sort this out. That's not helpful. I'm sorry, I'm literally just looking on Google. Hang on. ZX. I should share this with you, really, shouldn't I? Hang on. Right. This is frustration when you're trying to tell someone who doesn't know what they're doing remotely. Right. Okay. It's gone past. Yeah. Try writing the word, then add quotes after. Okay. We can do that. So, are you suggesting Are you suggesting that then? Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. No, right. This is stupid. Right. Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. Right. Yep. Try without the quotes. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Fine. Right. I don't. What happened? What on earth happened there? So hang on a minute. Right, this is calm. Okay. Oh, for the love of, there's a print. Oh, hang on. Right, I think I see what I'm doing. Okay. By the way, I will just say for clarity that I'm making a recording of this, as you know, and what's going to happen is that when you see the edited version, this whole bit of me having no idea what I'm doing will be cut. Yeah. I think I've figured it out. Okay. Let's try this again. Right. Oh, right. Okay, I'm learning. Okay, right. No. Okay. Oh, no, damn brain's not working. Oh. And that, I think, was the RAM failing. Hang on a minute. Something just went quite bad. Yeah, this cartridge is really flaky. So I think what we'll do for the minute is, I think we can assume it's probably okay, unless it has just failed on us spectacularly, but I don't think it has. So let's just take that out. So 16K cartridge out. Make sure these are, our new membrane keyboard is in. Okay. Power back up. Okay. Yeah, that I think was the memory failing, because it wobbled in the cartridge. So yeah. Okay. Right. Print. Single quote, which is straight on the same key as the print. If I show you what the problem is. Okay. See on the membrane? So you've got the P, and then there's a little single quote. I was hitting double quote over here, which is why I was having the problem. So, okay, single quote. This is going to work now. You watch. It is single-handedly the worst thing to type on. It really is. Sent a message on Instagram entitled, "Tom, what the F are you doing?" Have I even got Instagram? But I'll have to. Yes, I have. Might have to go and grab my phone in a minute, because I don't know if this PC's got it logged in. But right. Okay. Watch this. Hey, it works. It works. There we are. Right. Yeah. Right. Brilliant. Okay. Do you know what, go on? Give me a minute. And everyone else, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to run out the room, grab my phone. It's not in the room with me. And I'll check Instagram on my phone. 1 moment. Of course, I just replaced my phone, so it's having a wobbly about all sorts of things at the minute. Right, yeah, that's fine. There we are. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much, Gertmon. Is literally just okay. There's literally just photographs and pictures from a book. ZX Spectrum Games Code Club. That's a cool book. I need to get that. ZX Spectrum Games, but I suppose the principle's still exactly the same for the 81. So, okay, right, I got you. Thank you for that. Thank you. That's really helpful. Yeah. So yeah, so we can assume the machine is working. Obviously, the only way we're going to know if the RAM is okay, as in that RAM expander is okay, is obviously we need to run something that uses the memory. So now the only reason I say I would have Instagram on the X1 PC that's streaming, but I haven't set it up. So I've only just set up X Twitter on it, in all honesty. But no, that's fine. Thanks for that. Really do appreciate it. So yeah, it's working really well. So what I'm hoping is, what I want to do is really, if we go to show, I'd like to run it on this little TV because I think it would actually really look the part if you think about it. And that's what we need. Yeah, as Gertman just said, very basic type-ins. Yeah, all to run the games. So where I see us going with the project is we'll bring this bit to an end shortly because I've pretty much done what I wanted to do with this tonight. What I will say is, I said about the lack of screws. Well, I also bought in this envelope, and unfortunately they're taped to the invoice that has my address on it, so I need to be a little careful how I show this. So just bear with me. Not that I, wouldn't like you all around for tea, but you know where I'm going with this. I bought a new set of screws for system. So we've got a couple of existing screws, and there are some new compatible screws, so to be able to tighten the whole thing up. So that was the other thing I bought, and it's just great to actually be able to play with this stuff. I do have, but I don't know if I have I used to have some cables for the data in, data out audio leads. I do have a compatible modern tape deck, Bush sort of tape deck. They did a reissue a few years ago. My brother bought me one, so it's a brand new tape deck. So it is possible to play games or tapes into the machine, and we can see if the tape interface works and if we get the volume correct. So 3D printed new case, but I also want to play with this ZX ESP32 to ZX81 coprocessor, and I think that would be really, really cool to have. So this keyboard here, I basically will want to fit to a 3D printed case, not back into the original. And the 3D printed case means we can make modifications in the CAD, or I can physically lop bits out. Now I do have, that's not a VGA, but I have, do I have the VGAs down here? I did see them the other day. Let's have a look. Oh yes, I do. Okay. I have these, which I bought a little while ago, which, what I've just shown you is actually DB9 connector, which is used for the joysticks. We were using that with a joystick with the Project Rear system, but I also have these, which actually no, tell a lie. These are the that's the wrong way around. That's VGA. There we are. Get the right one. So I have these, which are VGA type connectors with the ability to have audio individual pins broken out. So my thinking is to fit one of these right underneath inside, and then have the basic circuitry on a bit of breadboard, and then have that attached to ESP32, and then we'll kind of fit that into the case with this original board, which is working, and the new membrane. Might change out that, if that's just 9V to 5V regulator, I might change that out for a modern one, which will still get very hot. So I've got here a modern one that we could use, and that should be fine, and that's getting it very, very hot. So this got hot when we tried it, actually, if you remember. One of the first projects we did when I started live streaming was building that power supply, which we struggled with and kind of give up in the end. But yeah, so we could use the regulators. So yeah, that's the VGA. That's the old serial, which will pop out of the way for a minute. So we could use that, embed that in the product, which would be fine. It actually has an adhesive pad, so you can sort of stick it underneath, but we'll figure out a way of doing it. Yeah, so that's kind of where I want to go with it, really. So I think what I'll need to do next is 3D print a case and sort of get all this gubbins back into a case, which I think will look cool. And we'll sort of take it from there. And then I guess see if I can get the tape, find the tape cables, or maybe buy some new ones if I can't find the originals. I think they still do make, amazing what they actually make reproductions of. But yeah, I'm thrilled to actually have this as a potential system up and running, you know, as an original ZX81. I mean, there won't be an awful lot of it original, but at least the board and the chips will be the original. And oh blimey, that's burning up. Yeah, the blimey, that is properly warm. ULA chip, and if that goes, we are in trouble. I think possibly I'm just going to power down for a minute. Before I do that, just quick, I'm really, really pleased actually with just how well that's look. Sorry for the flicker, but how well that's actually looking on the screen. It's, you know, that's not bad. You can actually work. You can actually see individual pixels. You know, the blocky shape. It's not blurry. It's a really, really crisp monitor, this. It's not flickering like that. That's a little bit better. Well, there we go. It's managed to find sync. So yeah, that's really, really working well. And this is the monitor I'd like to run with, as well as being able to run with VGA. If we run with VGA as well, it means I can do a digital capture, and then you can see it kind of, you know, not optically like this with a camera, but you'll be able to see it, you know, digitally as I normally capture things as well. So, but yeah, I just want to share that with you because the RF modulator is working really, really well. It's a really crisp, really stable image, and I do love this little TV, and it's perfect for this sort of thing. But I need to power down just because I am concerned with just how hot that's getting, and they do get hot. They ran hot in other machines. So instantly, I'll just turn this off a minute. There we go. Brilliant little TV that. Yeah, I guess we need to add some heat sinks, at the very least. Just a couple of heat sinks just to help draw some of the heat off that chip. I mean, it will be running hot. They're over 40 years old. So it's just, if that goes, I think we're in trouble, basically. Electrolytics seem all right. Not caps aren't bulging or anything. The resistors aren't burning up, so that's all looking okay. Yeah, so really it's just I want to change out this voltage regulator for one or do the same job, but hopefully will work a little bit more reliably, and that'll be a very simple job just to take that out. And yeah, so we can sort of go from there. Excellent. I've just stopped the recording there. So yeah, yeah, really quite happy with that. Swig of tea time. I just wonder if I can. Let's just try zooming out a bit if we can. anyway, you can get sort of a different view of all the crap in the room. There we are. But you can imagine that on a show, on a stand, and I'm hoping to go back to some shows at some point. Let's just very carefully take this membrane out. There we go. Well, that's worked really, really well. Get on just saying there's hot and hot. Yeah, it's you can't. That's really getting. You can't sort of put your finger on it. I mean, yeah, the chips are warm, but that was really burning up that ULA, which is a concern. So let's just pop that out the way. The point I just wanted to make, if I just get the cases over here, is you imagine that little monitor or little TV set with, again, see if I can get you the best angle of this, but which is going to be a little tricky because I'm tied down to, yeah, it's not quite going to get the space on that, but yeah, you get the gist. There we are. So that would look kind of cool, is what I'm thinking, and that would work really, really well. So we should be able to have an onboard ESP32 coprocessor, is what I'm thinking. Just wonder if I can just adjust that. Yeah, just a bit. Sometimes these cameras I use are blooming fantastic. Other times they drive me up the wall, and sometimes they're like this. They're blooming fantastic. They just stay in focus, and you can get kind of interesting live shots from them. So yeah. Now, as for what I'm thinking of printing, I'm wondering about going for a kind of like a mid-light grey. If we're going to 3D print something, rather than just try and make it look exactly the same, maybe go for like a lighter grey 3D print material that I can kind of sand or smooth down to try and get a similar sort of look and feel. We can put some new feet on the bottom of the new case, but it also means I can sort of lop holes in it, or even design holes in it for fitting a VGA. We can still keep the Sinclair. I think the CAD, it's off the shelf CAD actually. See if I can find that actually. Just bear with me. Let's just have a look. I've got membranes everywhere. Hang on. Let's move stuff out of the way. So we go. Here we go. Right. So let's just see if that loads in. It might, if we're lucky. Just go away. Right. There was a best, wasn't one I was thinking of. There was a better one than that, but that's not amazing. It does have, I think it's a modded machine, but yeah, there was one I did find, I have bookmarked it, that was absolutely nigh identical. Let's just try that again. ZX81 in. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of, is do something like that as a sort of, you know, complete like for like replacement for the original. I mean, it won't be 100%, but there's the actual 3D print pieces. We can go to 3D mode. Oh, we can. There we are. And my machines will be able to run that off, no problem. So we'll just do that in PLA. And then it means, you know, you can run as many of these off as I want in, you know, bright orange or whatever. I'm not thinking of being too extravagant. Although, I don't know, orange might look very interesting. Might be better than grey. I don't know. Certainly got lots of orange PLA, so we could print one off and see, you know, how well that works. If it looks too gaudy, then no. But with the, if I can just get the light to catch it, where you've got the text, I don't know if you can see the text here, where on the original unit, if we just cut back to, where are we? So where you've got this, it's just painted. So it'd be possible just to literally paint that in a different colour. So you might want that, and even this, the Sinclair logo, maybe in black. If this was, I don't know if it was grey or if it was like sort of bright luminous orange or something. Yeah, got to make some experiments, see how well that works. But that's kind of what I'm thinking of anyway. And I just think it would look really, really cool with this little monitor, which I have to be honest with you, I was expecting this to be a bit more cheap and nasty, but for a CRT, basically it's virtually new. I don't think it's actually ever been used. A lot of these, they're bought, used once, and then that's it. They're not actually ever used again, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. I'm also thinking it means you can probably pop this on the shelf. Where the ZX, there we go. Where the Sinclair ZX Spectrum is. That machine needs work as well, and that needs a new membrane because that's got the same problem. So that's kind of on my to-do list. To get that sorted. Gertmon suggesting could be Wi-Fi. Start that again. Wi-Fi sheep. Blue and yellow. Yeah. The only problem with that is it can look a little bit gaudy. I know what you're saying, and I have got yellow. Could do one in yellow. PLA could look a little bit gaudy. And also, everyone then thinks it's Ukrainian. Not that I have a problem with Ukraine or anything like that, but obviously they start thinking like that. Let's just pop you back on there so I can pop the camera back. It's probably be out of focus now. Hang on. Oop, what did I say? Let's just. Ooh, there we go. Actually, a lot of people, right? If I just move out of the way, thought that was to do with Ukraine, and it isn't. It's that's the flag for Shropshire. So it's called loggerheads. It's called the loggerheads. It's 3 lines in this blue and yellow colour scheme, and that is the county flag for where I live. So that's kind of why we've got a county flag up. It was suggested to me a while ago that just put some flags up or something. I was like, right. A bit like how Americans have, Stars and Stripes and all that kind of stuff in the background, a lot of their videos. And I thought, well, we don't really do that in this country. It's not really the sort of thing we do. And if I sort of started putting Union Jacks up or things, it might look a little bit too nationalist, if you know what I mean. So I thought, well, what's the compromise? And I thought, well, we could put a county flag up for where I'm broadcasting from, and that's why that's there. So Gertmon was saying it's hard to be politically correct all the time. It is, but it kind of goes back to what we were talking about 3 streams ago about having to be culturally sensitive on an international stage, if you know what I mean. So I mean, I'm not going down the whole kind of alt PC kind of, but there's some things you can do that are, so we don't have to go there, if you know what I mean. And I'm not accidentally or unintentionally making a statement on this platform, which is not my intention. So, yeah. But obviously, you start going into a territory there and it's like, no, we're here to do stuff like this, Not here to preach politics, especially not a right at the moment. Yeah, so I'm actually really thrilled with that, how well that's worked. So let's just there we go. Considering I was told that he thought the ROM was suspect, I mean, obviously we haven't really done much in the way of. Why does this always just doesn't stay in focus? Always creeps. Gertmon, no shooting games. No, I'm not going to go that mad. No, we'll have shooting. That's fine. No, no, it's that's fine. No, it's more about well, the things I commented on last time. I say just there's some things that we don't need to go down. You know what I mean? But no, I'm not going to turn into my mother. I think I mentioned before last week. Very very sort of old conservative Christian upbringing. So all video games were banned and all video games were evil and all sort of remote pop culture television you can't watch and all these sort of things. So that was my upbringing. So hence yeah, you kind of you revolt against that. So yeah, but no, that's fine. And I am actually looking forward to playing some of the games I bought on this that unit, not this case. But I'm just thrilled that's working. So yeah, I don't think the ROM's bad, because I thought if the ROM was bad, we'd be having more problems. How are we going to attach the 16K? Now, the 16K ROM pack needs more exploring, basically, to see what we're going to do with that. I think clean up the contacts, add solder both sides, and see if that's a bit more stable. Because I mean, I appreciate the board isn't in this, but it's not a particularly good design, is it? It sort of doesn't. It's got bits that you think would do more than it actually does. It's like it's sort of. I can see why that's a problem. It's sort of it doesn't even. It can't even sit flush on a surface, because the surface is and it's a cool design, this case, don't get me wrong. It looks, it really still even today looks amazing. But if your board's sitting in flat and you're doing that, yeah, you're doing that, so like that, yeah. There's nothing to really, you want to be like that, but then you're coming into at an angle. Interesting. We might be able to do something about that, possibly. Tell you what, while we're here, shall we have a quick look inside this cartridge? Let's actually see what's going on inside. Just very carefully move my brain somewhere safe. So, 2 screws on the front. Oh, blimey, that's stiff. Oh, God, that's not moving. Oh, dear. Actually, I don't know if that's just the corrosion on the screwdriver. It's actually corrosion on the... No, they've all got corrosion on. That's gone. That's fine. Oh, blimey, that's not moving. Someone saying could be 3D printing project to make something a bit stable. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Because I'm like just trying to get into these. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Quite long screws, aren't they? Well, there's a couple of options. Modify the CAD so it's something to work with. Make this permanently fitted into the back of the unit we're going to build, which we could do. And that's not out the question. Let's try and get that screw out the back. There we go. Oh, blimey, there's a membrane in this. Okay. So it's 2 boards, a membrane between the boards, capacitors, electrolytics, which look okay. I don't really want to bend these apart to show you the chips, but you can see there are the RAM ICs, which make up 16K of RAM, and the board is kind of sort of squashed together in a sandwich like that, really. Issue 1. Right, I don't know if there's any other issues, but it says issue 1. And again, hand-drawn board. And the chips just soldered straight in. They're not socketed or anything, which, well, you wouldn't expect them to be socketed for this sort of price point. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, it's going to have to hang like that off the back. I mean, you could, I suppose you could desolder this connector and then just sort of bridge like that, I guess. We could like sort of solder the board. There's some possibilities. Again, I'm suggesting a new enclosure for the memory PCB that's designed to fit flat on the... yeah. Yeah. Got some interesting thoughts here. What I don't understand is it's got this sort of piece here which looks like it was meant for something, and there's nothing on the other case. So I definitely think we could do something. I think what I need to do is probably draw something up if I get time in the week. Draw something up and sort of take it from there. Let's see if we can get that back in. I mean, if this membrane broke, that isn't a problem. I can always, you know, put something new in. So, well, I definitely think we're going to need to do some 3D print work, and if we can build a, you know, a usable retro system. The problem is I do all that and people will just think it's a damn Raspberry Pi in a case, won't they? And then you'll be like, no, it is original hardware inside. Won't be winning that one. Well, I'm pleased there's no corrosion inside anyway. It looks pretty clean. So that's something. But yeah, I'm glad we actually got around to looking at this tonight. And get this project, you know, underway and get the machine ready to go out into the real world. Those really don't grip into much of anything. There we are. It's on. It's on, he says, as the screw comes clean out. Any thread on it at all. No, I think we're all right. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Not sure what we'll do with that, but yeah, there's some things we need to adjust, and I think the best thing to do would probably, rather than designing something completely from scratch, as I said, we just go back to what we were looking at. Is probably just to borrow this CAD, which, yeah, be good enough. And I think a little bit of work just to smooth it out, we can get the lines out. Worst case scenario, can always spray paint, rattle can it if we need to. Would prefer not to do that, but you know, you never know what you have to do these days. So Yeah, I think, you know, there's some options there for what we could do, and it's quite nice that you can download all this for free as well off Thingiverse, which is fantastic. So, but few instructions. Yeah. Get one suggesting fit it in the main case and say it's a Timex. Well, it's interesting to say that there is a modern add-on, right, that allows you to actually fit a modern 16, just a single 16K chip inside. It's like a daughter board that sits on top. So I'm guessing one of these must be the RAM then, actually. That's definitely the ROM. That's the RAM. That must be the RAM. Because where else is the RAM? There's no RAM on the machine, is there? So that has to be the RAM. So, yeah. Yeah, so basically in that case you can actually, there's a daughter board that you fit and it replaces the RAM and gives you 16K. The only reason I haven't gone for those kits is one, they're a little pricey, and two, they require surface mount soldering, which I am not madly keen on doing, in all honesty. Which is kind of why I went and sourced an original RAM pack, but that might be slightly flawed. People have said they've literally soldered that on permanently, which we might be able to do. But I think there's a few options we can do to try and, you know, make things, so make a better connection. Clean this connector, clean this and put solder either side. Perhaps either redesign a case for this, definitely redesign a 3D print case for this that makes this connecting a bit better and a bit more sort of, you know, lock in better, and that might fix the problem. We'll see. But yeah, again, if you've got the American Timex machine, ain't got these problems because you've got 16K on the board straight. But yeah, okay, there's stuff to think about and do. I think as we've 10 past 10 or 12 past 10 now here in the UK. I think we might call it a night, actually. So once again, thank you so much. Oh, hang on, that's not right. Hang on, there we go. Thank you so much for your company, as ever. Hope you've enjoyed this evening. We should be back at the same time next week from 2000 hours GMT. If you haven't done so already, then please do consider liking and subscribing to us here at Wi-Fi Sheep Tech. And I hope to see you real soon. Until then, thank you so much for your company and a very good night.